Okay, let's unpack this. It is 2026, and look around you.
Oh, it's everywhere.
AI is absolutely everywhere. It's in our browsers, our cars, our office software. Honestly, it's probably optimizing the cooling cycle in your refrigerator right now.
I wouldn't doubt it.
But let's just be honest with ourselves for a second. If someone put you on the spot right now and asked, how does the AI stack actually work?
Right.
Like, how do vectors relate to agents? Or what's the architectural difference between a chatbot and an orchestration layer? Could you give them a clear, confident answer?
That is the trillion-dollar question at this point in the economy. And honestly, for most business leaders I talk to, the answer is a very confident no.
Yeah, because we hear these terms constantly. LLMs, RJO, vectors, agents. It's like this massive alphabet soup of jargon.
Total jargon.
And for most of us, even if we use the tools every single day, the actual architecture remains a complete black box.
Input goes in and magic comes out.
Exactly, but the middle.
Yeah.
Total mystery.
And that creates a lot of anxiety, specifically for people who have to make strategic decisions.
Yeah.
You feel like you're building your company's future on top of a foundation you don't fundamentally understand. You're just buying parts. You're not building a system.
Which is exactly why I am so excited about the deep dive we are doing today. We are looking at a source that claims to fix this entire confusion in under an hour.
A bold claim.
It is. We're analyzing a video series called From Zero to AI Strategist in 47 Minutes. It's by Guru Prasad S.S. from the channel Hustle with AI.
And what I really appreciate about his perspective here is that he isn't just a coder throwing syntax at you.
Right, he's a consultant.
Exactly, with nearly 30 years of experience in IT and business transformation. He's seen the dot-com boom, the mobile revolution, the cloud migration.
He's been through it all.
So he's speaking directly to founders and leaders who need to make decisions, not just write Python scripts.
And he gives us this ultimate aha moment. I have to say, when I saw this, I let out a breath I didn't even know I was holding.
It really reframes everything.
It does. He proposes a mental model that completely bypasses the tech jargon. He says if you want to understand the modern AI stack, stop looking at server diagrams.
And look at the human body.
Yes, look at the human body.
It's a brilliant metaphor because it takes the abstract and makes it totally tangible. Instead of servers and code pipelines, we're talking about a brain, a memory, hands, a nervous system.
And an immune system.
Right. It turns a tech stack into an anatomy.
So that is our roadmap for today. We are going to build this digital human, organ by organ.
I love it.
By the end of this deep dive, you won't just know what an LLM is, you'll actually know where it fits into the anatomy of a business. So let's start at the top, the most obvious part, the brain.
The brain. So in the tech world, this is what we call the large language model, or LLM.
This is the celebrity of the group, right? This is ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, the thing everyone actually interacts with.
Correct. But here is where we need to be very precise about what this brain actually does. In this anatomy, the brain handles reasoning, prediction, and language understanding. It's the engine of intelligence. It processes information and solves logical puzzles.
So it's smart. But our source points out a massive flaw in this brain. A pretty significant limitation for something we call intelligence.
It has amnesia.
It has amnesia. That seems really counterintuitive.
Well, essentially, the expert calls this why AI forgets everything. You see, an LLM is stateless.
Stateless. Let's break that down because that's a very computer science term.
Sure. It means that every time you start a new interaction, the model doesn't inherently remember the deep context of everything you've ever told it before.
Or like every document in your company's history.
Exactly. It's brilliant in the moment during that specific inference, but once that session is as translating thoughts into coordinates. Let's look at a traditional database, what we call a system of record.
Okay.
In a system of record, you search for keywords. If I search for the word apple, the database just looks for the letters A-P-P-L-E.
Simple enough. It matches the string of text.
But if you search apple in a vector database, what he calls a system of intelligence, it's not looking for the letters. It's looking for the concept.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the AI takes a sentence, a document, or an idea, and turns it into a long string of numbers, a vector. And it places that vector on a massive multi-dimensional map.
So the concept of king is stored near queen, and apple is stored near fruit, but they're both far away from car.
Precisely. It turns meaning into math.
That's wild.
So when the brain needs to remember something, say, what was our Q3 strategy for the European market? It doesn't scan for those exact keywords.
Right.
It queries the vector database, finds the memory that is closed, or if the context window gets too full,
It just drifts.
it drifts. It doesn't have a long-term memory of its own.
So it's like meeting a brilliant consultant who has read the entire internet, but every time they walk out of the room and come back in, they introduce themselves and ask, so what does your company do again?
That is the perfect way to put it, which is a huge problem if you're trying to run a business. You can't have an employee who forgets company policy every time they blink.
And that leads us to the second part of the anatomy, which is the memory.
And this is where vector databases come in.
Okay, vector databases. This is usually where people tune out because it sounds like math class. But in our body metaphor, this is just the hippocampus, right?
Right. If the LLM is the processing power, like the prefrontal cortex, the vector database is the long-term storage.
Got it.
But it's not storing data like an Excel spreadsheet. This is a very crucial distinction the source makes.
Yeah, he mentions embeddings here, which sounds incredibly technical, but it's really just how the brain stores thoughts, isn't it?
Think of embeddings mathematically close to that concept and pulls it back into the present.
So it allows the AI to search by vibe or context rather than just exact wording. That's a huge shift.
It is a massive shift. He really emphasizes this move from systems of record, your old SQL databases, to systems of intelligence.
Storing meaning in context instead of just rows and columns. Okay, so we have a body that can think, the brain, and remember, the memory. That's essentially a philosopher sitting in a library.
A very smart philosopher.
Right, but businesses don't really pay for philosophers, they need workers. We need to actually get stuff done. If I want to book a flight or update a CRM, a brain in a jar can't do that.
Which brings us to the hands.
The hands. In the tech world, these are APIs.
API stands for Application Programming Interface. But honestly, forget the acronym for a second.
Lovely.
In our body metaphor, the API is the physical hand that reaches out of the digital box and touches the real world.
It's the connector.
Yes. The brain can think, I should book a meeting, but it's the API that actually connects to the calendar software and blocks the time.
Because without APIs, the AI is just locked in a box talking to itself.
Completely isolated.
And this leads to what the source calls the agentic era. This is a term I've been hearing everywhere. Agents. Are these just a rebranding of chatbot?
No, it's a fundamental functional shift. A chatbot talks, an agent does. This is the biggest shift we are seeing right now. An agent is an AI system that isn't just generating text. It is equipped with these hands, the APIs, and is given the autonomy to use them to perform tasks.
The source gives a really cool example of this involving robot delivery systems in hotels. Can we walk through that?
Let's do it.
Because that really clicked for me on how this works in practice.
It's a perfect illustration. Imagine you are a guest in a massive hotel chain. You pick up the phone, or maybe you just text the hotel app and say, I need a bottle of water.
Simple request.
Simple for you. Super complex for this system. In the old world, a human has to read that, call housekeeping, someone has to physically walk it up.
Right.
But in the agentic era, an AI agent receives that request.
So the brain understands guest in room 302 wants water.
Right. Then it uses its hands. It communicates with the inventory system API to check stock. Do we have water? Yes.
Okay.
Then, and here's the really cool part, it communicates with the robot fleet management system. It dispatches a robot and tells it exactly where to go.
But wait, the robot has to get up 3 floors.
Exactly. So the agent uses another API to call the elevator.
That is crazy. The AI calls the elevator.
To the building management system, yes. So the robot navigates the halls, arrives at your door, and the agent uses the room phone API to ring you and tell you it's there.
Wow.
The entire workflow, from the I want water text to the physical delivery, is managed by an AI agent orchestrating all these APIs.
It's not just generating text anymore. It's literally moving physical objects in the real world.
That is the power of the hands. It transforms AI from a chatbot into a workforce.
But wait a minute. We have a brain, we have memory, we have hands. But think about that hotel example.
Yeah.
Checking inventory, calling the robot, calling the elevator, ringing the phone. That's a lot of coordination. If I try to rub my belly and pat my head, half the time I get confused.
We all do.
How does the AI keep all those signals straight?
You need a nervous system.
And in our stack, this is called orchestration.
Correct. The source highlights tools like LangChain and LangGraph.
I've heard of those.
Yeah, these are the frameworks that act as the nervous system. They ensure the signal goes from the brain to the hands correctly in the right sequence.
So the nervous system is basically the traffic cop.
It's more like the conductor of an orchestra. It ensures that when the brain makes a decision, the right memory is retrieved and the right hand is moved.
Okay.
If the brain says send the robot, The nervous system makes sure the command actually gets to the robot API and not, say, the fire alarm API.
Yeah, that would be a very bad mix-up.
A terrible mix-up. And within this nervous system, there's a very specific process that Guru Prasad explains called RAG.
RAG, retrieval augmented generation. I feel like this is probably the buzziest word of the last few years.
It is the standard architecture now.
Yeah.
The analogy the source uses is so helpful. Think of RAG as an open book exam.
I used to love open book exams.
Oh, we all did. But think about why. In a closed book exam, you rely only on your memory.
Right, and if you didn't study, you're out of luck.
Or if you're stressed, you might just make something up. You hallucinate an answer, and you fail. That is an LLM relying only on its training data.
It might confidently tell you that the capital of France is London if it just gets confused.
Right. But in an open book exam, which is what our rig is, the student, the AI, is allowed to go look up the answer in a trusted textbook before answering.
And the textbook in this case is the company's own verified data.
Exactly. So when you ask the AI, what is our vacation policy? It doesn't guess. The nervous system pauses the brain, uses RA to go into the memory, that vector DV we talked about.
Yeah.
It finds the specific document about the vacation policy, reads it, and then generates the answer based only on that text.
So it's just infinitely safer. It's actually grounded in reality.
Much safer. And the source mentions a technique called recursive chunking here.
Recursive chunking.
It sounds super complex, but it's really just a filing technique.
Why do we need to chunk things in the first place?
Because the brain, the LLM, can only hold so much information at once in its working memory. It has a strict limit.
Oh, I see.
So recursive chunking is the nervous system breaking down big documents, like a massive 50-page PDF, into smaller, bite-sized paragraphs or chunks so they can be retrieved easily.
Oh, so it's like highlighting the key paragraphs in the textbook so you can find them fast during the exam rather than having to reread the whole book every single time.
Exactly. That is exactly what it is.
Okay, so we are building a pretty capable human here. We've got a smart brain, photographic memory, capable hands, and a nervous system that keeps it all perfectly coordinated.
It's quite the specimen.
But Biology 101, bodies get sick, bodies get attacked.
They absolutely do. And that brings us to the final and arguably most critical part for any business leader listening, the immune system.
The immune system, this is governance.
Governance, safety, controls. In this source, he is very clear. You cannot deploy this powerful body without an immune system. We are talking about standards like SOC2, ISO 27001, HIPAK.
See, these usually sound like the really boring compliance parts of a meeting, but in this context, they sound like survival mechanisms.
They really are. Because without them, you are highly vulnerable to what the source calls the invisible employee.
Ooh, I marked this down in my notes. The invisible employee. This sounds like a horror movie title.
It's a very real corporate horror story.
Tell me more.
Well, the invisible employee isn't some hacker in a hoodie sitting in a basement. It's your own staff.
Wait, really?
Yeah. It's the well-meaning employee who is using AI tools, like a public version of ChatGPT, to just get their work done faster.
Oh, okay.
But they are doing it without permission and without any oversight.
So they are taking sensitive company data, maybe a client list or financial projections, and just pasting it into a public chatbot to get a quick summary.
Exactly. And the moment they hit enter, that data has left your secure environment.
Wow.
It's data leakage. It's shadow AI. And because it's invisible, meaning your IT department doesn't even know it's happening, you have absolutely zero control over it.
That is terrifying because
Yeah.
it's not malicious. It's just people trying to be efficient.
But efficiency without guardrails is danger. The immune system's job is to detect these exact risks. It's about having access controls, guardrails, and privacy layers that act like white blood cells.
So they spot the anomaly, like, hey, sensitive data is trying to leave the perimeter.
Exactly. And they neutralize the threat right there, maybe by blocking the prompt or redacting the data automatically before it goes out.
The source also mentions the vendor trap as something the immune system fights off.
Right. This is about the long-term business health. The vendor trap is when you get locked into one specific AI provider and you just can't leave.
So maybe you build everything on GPT-4 and then they decide to double the price.
And you're held hostage.
That's a bad spot to be in.
A healthy immune system, which means good governance, ensures you have an abstraction layer.
An abstraction layer.
Yeah, lets you swap out the brain if you need to. You can say, oh, that model's too expensive. Let's just swap in a cheaper open source model.
And the rest of the body just stays exactly the same.
You don't have to rebuild the hands or the memory.
That is brilliant. So if we step back and look at the whole picture now, We really have built a complete digital human.
We have.
We've got the brain, which is the LLM for reasoning. We have the memory, vector databases for context, the hands, APIs, and agents for taking action.
And the nervous system.
Right. Orchestration and RAG for coordination. And finally, the immune system, governance for safety.
It's amazing how well that metaphor actually holds up.
It really does. It takes this sprawling, chaotic tech stack and turns it into something totally organic, something we can actually visualize and understand.
And that is the whole goal of the source material. It's about future-proofing your AI strategy for 2026 and beyond.
Yeah.
Because if you just buy a brain, an LLM, and you don't give it memory or hands, you have a toy, not a tool.
And if you build the whole body but forget the immune system, you just have a massive liability.
It's all about balance. You need all the systems working together. The hype cycle is finally settling down. Now it's about architecture.
Right.
It's about building systems that scale safely. He's emphasizing that you don't need to be a coder to be an AI strategist, but you do need to understand anatomy.
You need to know what you are actually building.
Exactly.
I love that. You don't need to write the code, but you need to understand the anatomy. That is such a perfect takeaway for you listening right now.
It really is the core message.
But before we completely wrap up, I want to go back to that invisible employee concept for just a second, because it really stuck with me.
Oh, it is the thing that keeps CIOs up at night.
I bet. So here is a question for you listening right now. We've talked a lot about the ideal immune system your company should have in place.
Yes.
But be honest with yourself for a minute. If your company doesn't have those guardrails fully built out right now,
And many don't.
are you comfortable knowing that those invisible employees are currently making decisions with your data right at this very moment?
Because they are there.
Hmm.
Whether you actively see them or not.
Exactly. If you haven't built the immune system, the infection might already be spreading. That is definitely something to chew on during your next commute.
Definitely. Inaction is simply not a safety strategy anymore.
Not at all. Well, if you want to see the visual diagrams of this anatomy, and they are incredibly helpful, I highly recommend checking out the full series.
It's from zero to AI strategist in 47 minutes.
On the Hustle with AI YouTube channel, the creator draws all these connections out in a way that just immediately clicks.
It is absolutely worth the 47 minutes of your time.
100%. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today. We'll catch you on the next one.
Stay curious.